Hi everyone, it's Jonathan here from Weave, and I'm delighted to be joined by my fellow co-founders of Weave, Andreas and Stephen. This is our first AMA, so thank you very much for everyone who's asked their questions. We've had a long list of questions and we're going to try and rattle through them as quickly as we possibly can. Before we do that, I just wanted to say this YouTube channel now is where we're going to have all the announcements and things coming out. We've got a lot of educational videos, training videos and so on. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel because I will be putting out some content every now and again on TradeWise. I know a lot of you are subscribed there, but you need to be subscribed to this Weave channel as well to make sure you don't miss anything. Particularly, we've got the free coin drop coming up, which I'm really keen for all of you to participate in. I don't want you to miss anything like that. We're already making videos on exactly how to participate. I know for many of you it's going to be like a new thing on connecting a wallet and things like that, but we have got videos coming. So please make sure you don't miss any of that video content by making sure you subscribe to the channel. With that being said, so I just want to quickly, I'll just do a quick sort of introduction, I suppose, as to who we are and where we're coming from as individuals. We do have more details on the website, and there is a question actually which I'll answer now, which was, are you going to provide LinkedIn profiles so that you can find out a little bit more about our backgrounds? And the answer to that is yes, we will add LinkedIn profiles. So I don't want to dwell too much on like our own personal backgrounds because I really just want to focus on Weave. But basically, so you know where each of us is coming from. Basically, Andreas is our technical guy, our smart contracts expert. So he's the one that's actually going to be building this platform. Stephen comes from like a DeFi background. All the connections that we've made, and we've made some brilliant connections. We've got some amazing partnerships. Almost all of those, I think, have come from Stephen and his contacts and connections within the DeFi arena. And from my side, I'm more on the marketing side. And I also think I probably represent the newer users and the passive side of Weave as well, because I'm probably less experienced on the DeFi side, but I understand, I guess, some of the challenges that are faced in, I guess, getting into DeFi in the first place. So that's kind of where we're all coming from. Like the way that we'll kind of structure some of the answers as well might depend on who answers them and so on. So we'll just rattle through as many questions as we possibly can. But I wanted to start with the first question, which is it has been asked kind of a few times throughout, like all the different questions that we've had, and it comes down to kind of what's our vision and what do we want to achieve with Weave. So we've all kind of got slightly different things, and we've blended a few ideas together with this. This is how the conversations really started, because we all had ways that we think that the existing DeFi landscape can be improved. So what I'll do with this particular question is we can each say what it means to us and what we hope to achieve with Weave by building this platform. So Andreas, would you like to start with your answer to that?
Yes, thank you very much. For me, even though I know the space quite good and I would put me myself maybe more on the pro side, what dazzles me when it comes to the crypto space is that we don't put too much effort on usability. And even for existing pro users, the hassle to switch between different projects and all the work needed to understand different projects is quite high. And it amazes me. As you said, I have a technical background and I worked for different kind of clients, and we learned as in the whole developer system so much stuff how to do things right in the past 20 years. And it seems like we're missing out on that when it comes to DeFi and to crypto space in general. So my goal is to improve that aspect basically for the users, to be really sure that new users feel welcome when they come in and don't feel like there's too much at once that they have to learn, but also improve the usability of platforms and the whole ecosystem for existing users and pro users, and that they feel like this is the tool set they actually needed all the time.
Perfect. Stephen?
Yeah, sure. So kind of to put it briefly and simply, really, in my DeFi experience, having joined as a user, and then got more engaged with a support team for quite a popular DeFi project, Also Farm. I've discovered that there's so many complexities and so many different sites required to be visited, and so many little things that you have to learn before you actually invest your money in most of the available products out there. So I think for me, Weave will mean that someone will have a space that they can invest their money where they're able to see everything on one web page, on one website, and also to be able to learn everything they need to as they go along.
Yeah, perfect. So, I mean, mine's kind of similar in a way. Like, I really, really want to represent the unrepresented in DeFi, which is actually the majority of the world, because DeFi is kind of shut off. Really, it's a very kind of internal. It's the small bubble of people, and there's a big wide world out there of people that can benefit from this wonderful thing called decentralized finance. And so far, there's too many barriers to entry. That there's too much knowledge that you need to acquire. So that my focus is on making sure that people who are absolute beginners that have no crypto experience whatsoever will be able to easily get set up and benefit from generating some kind of yield farming and so on, nice and easily, and in a as a safer trade environment as we can make it as well. So that brings us on to the first question. These aren't in any particular order. I just thought we'll do them in the order that they were submitted. So the first question is, what will the duration period be for withdrawal once we have some yield? So Andreas, do you want to take that one?
Yes, definitely. We don't have a fixed withdrawal period or sometime like that. There are no requirements at which time you can withdraw, or if there's a minimum vesting period or something like that. We don't believe in locking in users. We think more about that we should provide an incentive for users to stay in, but not in a way that we lock them, but give the user the freedom what they want to do with their investment at any time in a point what they at any time.
So it's probably worth clarifying, isn't it, in terms of so we've got the Weave token itself. So you're going to be able to stake the Weave token and provide liquidity, and there's going to be really good yield on that, particularly in the first year. But also there's the vaults, which is like the whole of DeFi, which we're going to be providing. So I think what your answer there, I think, specifically pertains to the yield on the Weave token. Is it likely that some of the vaults that we have are likely to have some kind of like lock-in period or anything vesting period for rewards?
Yes, this might happen. This will be made clear in the strategy you're copying from. We will provide as much data as possible for you to make your decision. Because we're building on top of existing protocols, we can't prevent if a protocol uses a vesting period. There's currently Mars ecosystem, which is maybe the most popular right now with the kind of vesting period. We can't prevent that, but we will give you the information that this exists if you're using this kind of platform, and you can make your decision based on it. But we as a platform won't put any additional locking on top of it.
Perfect. And in terms of just going back to the Weave token then, so the Weave token rewards, if you're staking or providing liquidity, they'll be earned on a daily basis. Are we still thinking that it will be kind of mintable or claimable on a weekly basis? Is that still what you're going to be putting into the contract, Andreas?
This is what our initial idea was, and how we wanted to proceed it, but this doesn't mean that you will have to wait for additional weeks or something like that. It depends on how we implement that and how we do that. If we go with a weekly claim, then you can claim it on a specific date, but it doesn't mean that you have to invest for several months and are locked into that kind of period.
Yeah. And we are also hoping to have an auto compounding feature, because for me, the power of all of this is compounding, and that's really what the whole platform, not just the Weave token, but the whole platform will be focused on compounding gains. And so we definitely want that for the Weave token, so that you can just set up your liquidity pool or your staking. You'll earn yield, and then that yield is just put straight back into staking, and it just goes compounds and compounds, and the aim is for it to grow exponentially that way.
Exactly. I just wanted to add that the beauty of our platform is that you not only can compound 100%, but that you can create your strategy the way you like. So if you would love to compound 50% and take profits, which unfortunately a lot of people forget to take their profits, this is something you can set up. You can set up 50% auto compound, 50% taking profits, move to another project. Basically, you can do whatever you like with your money.
And that's a really key USP. So people ask us, what's the USP? Currently, I mean, certainly I don't know of any strategy builder that allows you to do that. So there's plenty of compounding platforms out there that will auto compound. I'm not aware, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, of somewhere that gives you the ability to build your strategy in that way, where you can set the compounding amount. You could even do it at 10% compounding and 90% withdrawal, whatever. You can fully set the parameters for your strategy, right?
Yes, if someone can educate me on something which is similar to this, please reach out to me. But to my understanding, the scope of what we want to achieve is not existing right now in the DeFi space.
And just to quickly reassure people that are already maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by what we're talking about, a little bit lost, we're talking about on the pro side really here. If you're a passive user, you don't need to worry about these features because you'll be able to copy someone that understands what we're talking about with all of this. So that is something that will hopefully become more clear. But I didn't want people to already feel like, oh gosh, they're already talking about setting parameters, and I don't really know what to do with that. That is fine. Trust me, we are making this platform super user friendly for absolute beginners. So yeah, maybe we should have structured the questions to like getting a bit more gradually more technical as we go. But there we are. So next one. Hello, could you please tell us what will be the differences between Weave and Donkey Finance, your main competitor? Thanks. So yeah, we are very much aware of Donkey. Stephen, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think I could contribute a little bit to that. So I think with regards to Donkey, and by all means, if you two can think of anything else to add, then please do. But I think from what I've seen of their platform, they have an application stage for the farmers that the passive equivalent users would then copy. But this is something that we won't have. We're going to allow people to come in and be able to do this regardless of their experience level. So if someone was wanting to educate themselves and perhaps set up a very small amount of money of their portfolio that's in crypto on the passive side as well as the pro side, then they'd be able to do that without having to apply for anything. And also when it comes onto the pro side, the passive side, and copying a pro Weaver, users will be able to see all the different parameters that those users have had recently, and also sort of the success rate they've had, and also how long they've been a pro Weaver on our platform.
And anything you want to add, Andreas?
Yes, Donkey Finance changed their model recently a bit around. For example, you need to hold that token to even launch or interact with the D app. You can launch it, but you can't interact with it. That's something we don't believe in. We don't want to exclude people or don't want them to force to buy our token if they don't want to. We think we provide good enough incentives for a token and use cases that people will buy and hold it. But if you want to try our platform and use our platform without tokens, our native token, then you can definitely do it. We take our slogan, bringing DeFi to the masses, quite seriously, and we don't want to exclude people up front.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I actually think we're going to be quite different than Donkey. Quite honestly, I think we've got a lot more scope. We're going to have a lot more vaults, a lot more choice. So we see them. We hope they're successful. We don't have a problem. With them. We've got our own ambitions, our own goals. We're not really. We're aware of them, but we're not really too focused on them. We think what we build is going to be significantly better. What will be the fee for withdrawal from the platform once required? So we should probably split this into two. So firstly, there's the Weave token. So if you're selling the Weave token, so if you're earning the Weave token by using the platform or by staking, there is a fee. Andreas, do you want to explain that one?
Yes, there's basically a fee when you transfer the token, or basically sell the token, so transfer it. There's a fee which is 3%, which goes to everyone in the staking pool for the Weave token. So long-time hodlers profit basically from the weak and paper hands and everyone selling it. 1% of the fee goes to the treasury, and 1% of the tokens 1% of the token will be burned forever. So this is our deflationary mechanism, how we implement it and how we think about it. And when it comes to our platform, there will be no withdrawal fee on interacting with our platform and creating your strategy. There will be a low entrance fee. We have a performance fee, but we don't believe it's fair to tax also on withdrawal. So this will be free.
Yeah, the fees are outlined in the white paper as well. So if anyone's not clear after that, then please refer to the white paper. Okay, what is the unique proposition of this project, and how is it different from the rest of the hundreds of DeFi apps? I think we've touched on some of them, but we can probably each give a reason why we think that this is what USPs we have. We have touched on some already. If we can either go back over them, or if you think of new ones. I've certainly got one. But if Stephen, do you want to go first with what you think one of our main USPs is?
Yeah, sure. I think a major factor for me going into a project, and this varies because with myself having DeFi experience recently, and perhaps newer users may not have as much experience in this area, but I feel that with our community, we're going to be able to have a really friendly environment so that people will be able to learn together. And I really believe that the time that we're going to focus on that will be really valuable. And we've got some news coming there regarding a ambassador scheme in the near future. So more information will be released shortly regarding that. But ultimately, as we said all along, early contributors and people that are active in our community will be rewarded. And we really want to show that we're valuing the people that are spending time on our community forums.
Yeah, our community focus really has been, I'm really impressed by it so far, actually. I can't take any of the credit, so thank you, Stephen, for everything you've been doing, putting effort into the community, but there's a lot more to come as well to make sure that, the community is really active and really well supported. Andreas, any thoughts?
Yes, I would then answer the question from a technical point of view, which there will be follow-up questions coming to security. But we have quite a unique approach to secure our users. When we say that your money and you should be in charge of it, we mean it directly. So the strategy you're building will become a smart contract. This is how the DeFi world works. But we as a platform don't have ownership over your contract. We can interact with the contract for compounding and basically doing everything what you set up in your strategy. But crucial interaction with the contract, like depositing, withdrawing, emergency withdrawal, these functions are only executable by the owner of the contract. So by you who created the contract and the people who copied the contract. We as a platform basically can't rug pull you. We can't take money for you. We can interact with the contract to make you more money, but we can't take it out from you.
Perfect. Yeah, and from my point of view, one of the USPs I think is that is going to be the marketing side. That's certainly something that I'm working very, very hard on at the moment. A lot of DeFi projects they're cannibalizing basically the existing crypto community. So don't get me wrong, we're building strong connections, and we want to let the crypto world know that we're there, and we want to attract people that are experienced. But so far, most DeFi projects I've seen fail on the marketing side. That's because they're not geared up, though. They've not got the training and things to welcome people from outside the crypto world. But like I said at the beginning, crypto is such a small bubble of people at the minute. The majority of people have no idea how to buy crypto. They don't own crypto. Probably don't even know what DeFi is. That for me is a huge marketing opportunity, and that's what I'm going to be targeting. Is those people that are completely new. So I've got a background with YouTube. I used to own a digital marketing agency. So for me, growing our following on social media platforms, on creating YouTube videos, ranking content in Google, these types of things are ways that we can bring in people and educate them from traditional investments like stocks and forex, things like that. Let them know that there's a whole new world being created called DeFi. And once we start them on the journey, everything will be there within the platform to enable them to get into crypto and yeah, like I say, benefit from DeFi. So I really think that the marketing that we want to do separates us from everyone else, because we truly mean bringing DeFi to the masses, and that means getting out of the crypto community and going to where the masses actually currently are. Next question. We did just touch on this, but I just want to clarify one point on it. So is there some sort of rug risk being taken, or who are the auditors? We'll come on to the auditors question in a moment. Stephen, would you mind just quickly explaining what a rug pull is? And then Andreas, do you want to just explain, well, we have just touched on it really, why we're different. You could maybe answer the auditor question instead, because we have just talked about the fact that the contract is owned by you, the user, not by us. That's the key, so important. That's where a lot of our code is different. That in itself is a USP. But Stephen, sorry, do you want to just explain quickly what a rug pull is for those that haven't heard of it?
Yeah. So essentially, what a rug pull is where the platform has been set up so the founders of the project or the developers of the project are able to remove funds without any notice, or when they can then take all the tokens, remove all the liquidity from a project, and then the value that you have, that you did have in that project, would then be worth nothing or very little money, and then also that then removes the ability for any future investors to invest in that token, and for it to have kind of a lower risk investment when it comes to the potential for vulnerabilities, because everything has been taken already, and essentially there's no way of coming back from that for an individual token address.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Andreas, on the audit.
I already briefly touched on it, that one major way to prevent rug pulls is not having the ownership of the contract. Rug pulls are so convenient for the platforms because you put everything in a big vault, and a contract is holding all the user funds, and this is why, or one reason why it makes it quite simple to rug pull. If you plan for it up front, it is pretty easy to set up, and it's hard to notice. There are different ways how you could prevent it. There's also time lock features, for example, before a contract gets modified, that there is a reminder for every user out there, for example, saying, well, in 7 days, the contract will be modified, and you can see what is the change. But if a contract doesn't have this kind of security measures, then they can change it instantly. And as Stephen said, take basically all the value out of the token from the platform you invested in. And we aren't able to do that on a technical level. We just can't do that the way we design the platform. This is quite important for us. We don't want that you have to put an extra layer of trust into us. You just have to trust our curated contracts, which we will set up for our passive users, which strategies they can copy. And
Yeah, that's perfect. And basically, in terms of the audit, we have got an audit planned as well. So that, I mean, Andreas, can people, if someone's technical enough, can they audit our code anyways? Is it actually out there for people to see once we kind of launch the project?
Every contract is visible on a blockchain. If you don't provide the source code, it doesn't get verified. But there's always the bytecode for a contract. You can even reverse engineer the bytecode and see the source code yourself. It isn't that difficult. Depends on the scope and everything, of course. I'm
not sure I'll be doing it, but yeah.
I don't think.
But anyway, we do. It's in the roadmap anyway to have an audit as well. You know, we absolutely stand by everything that we're saying, and we're going to get third-party auditors that will verify everything that we've said. Okay, so next question. What similar system are you benchmarking in terms of ways of operation and return percentages? I know you cannot give specific percentage returns, but do you expect to beat the returns of platforms like yield nodes, for example? Right. So I've seen a lot of comparisons with yield nodes, because obviously from TradeWise, you know, that was a lot of people's first experience of crypto was yield nodes. This is a completely different proposition than yield nodes. Okay, so the first thing is that you never send us money. With yield nodes, they're pooling people's funds and they are controlling how those funds are used, and they're putting them into master nodes of very, very, very low market cap coins, extremely volatile, very small projects, essentially. With ours, what we're saying with these smart contracts is that you never send us money. Your money is in your wallet, okay? So you control it. Imagine it staying in your bank account. We're not saying pay us your money and we'll go and invest it for you. We're saying keep it in your wallet. You will have ownership of it, and then you can choose the type of returns that you want based on your attitude to risk. So risk is extremely important here, okay? And I do just want to touch on it because there are ways with our platform you can have zero volatility risk, okay? So there will be stable coins on our platform, for example. They are linked one-to-one with a fiat currency. Normally it's the US dollar. So Tether, for example, one Tether is $1. It doesn't have upswings, it doesn't have downswings, it stays fixed. One Tether is $1. You can still make yield on stable coins, and this is the crucial part about it. So yes, it's great to sometimes to have moonshots and to have the opportunity to have a price appreciation in particular tokens and earn yield on top of it. But you can remove that volatility and just earn yield through our platform. So that makes it suitable for people even with a very low risk mindset. I'm not saying there's zero risk in it, but there's obviously a lot less, there's no downside risk in terms of the actual coin price valuation. In terms of percentages and benchmarking, I mean, rather than looking at yield nodes, it's probably better to, I guess, look at some of the auto compounding platforms out there. Perhaps maybe like, would you agree, guys? Maybe like just, if you wanted to do some research, you could look at places like Auto Farm, places like that, where they've already got quite a lot of established vaults and they're already auto compounding. Ours might be slightly different, but would you guys say that someone that's researching, is that a reasonable place to kind of get a feel for what returns might be?
Yeah. So that would be a good idea. Also, often I know of a few exchanges that offer similar sort of earn functionality. So they would often take they will take a cut of that yield for themselves, but it still gives you an idea of what you may be dealing with if you entered sort of a stablecoin vault in comparison to keeping your money in your bank account. This is actually the reason I came into DeFi in the first place. So it's it's definitely a big rabbit hole to fall down. But yeah, as always, our community moderators and our team will be there to help every step of the way.
Yeah, and what in terms of, I know some of you guys have looked at like stablecoin vaults. I mean, I normally think of like a stablecoin vault, you're probably in the region of maybe 20% APY, something like that. Would you think that's reasonable? I think they can be higher as well, even. But I compare that to like bank interest, which at the minute in your bank you'll get 0.1%. So it's significantly higher. But then it ranges dramatically. Some coins incentivize extremely heavily. I mean, we've been talking about one internally recently with what was the APY on that cake one? Was it 2,000% APY, the one that we went into on the cake one? And every now and again these really high APY ones pop up, and that's what Weave is about. The whole name of Weave is because we want people to be discovering these vaults and finding these opportunities and sort of weaving in and out and finding where the opportunities are, and that does involve as well, obviously, being cautious during like bear markets, for example. So again, this is where stable coins might come into it. But then when there's aggressive bull runs and things, you can be getting into coins that maybe have more upside as well as having good yield. So there's lots of elements to it, and this is where Weave kind of comes into it. But do you think, guys? Do you think that answers the question of potential benchmark for returns? It's such a difficult one because it is very much risk-reward based, and it's going to be down to individuals. But if there's anything else that you can think of to add to that point, because I know it's on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, so I guess something else to add is for every strategy that a pro user makes, on the passive side, there will be sort of a commentary from the pro user that passive user will be able to see, and they'll be able to understand perhaps why a pro user has chosen a specific site to put the capital into, or why they've removed the capital after a certain number of days, and what the plan is there. So I think that will be really helpful for the passive users to understand why certain decisions are made within certain time periods. And yeah, generally, as Johnny said, generally there's the newer the product, the higher the risk in terms of the potential for the rewards to decrease or the token price to decrease. This does vary with different tokenomics models, but largely speaking, the majority of projects will work in this way.
Anything to add, Andreas?
Just a small reminder that if you see there are APYs which are around even 1,000,000% or something like that, these projects pop up from time to time. An APY is calculated over a year. It's 99.9% that this APY isn't sustainable and it will fall down. It might be nice for a pro user to chase them for a few days or maybe a week, but this is something which isn't sustainable. Just to keep that in mind if you see really high numbers.
Yes, and that is of course based off the daily APR of a certain vault or a certain farm.
I think this whole conversation opens up, I guess, that the potential. So this is a good thing. This is there is a lot of potential out there, but also hopefully people are starting to understand the risks a little bit as well. Now, one thing that I'm going to be talking about in future videos, we're going to be doing a free token drop in the month of December, and then we're going to have you're going to be able to stake your Weave tokens before we open the actual passive side for copy trading. And really what we want to do is we want to ease people into this and educate them over a period of time, not just throw open the gates and let people just run riot and things, because we can't tell you what to do with your money, absolutely not, but we also want to protect people from making mistakes. And there are still mistakes that can be made in yield farming. It's not really our job necessarily to block vaults, but we can, through education, we can try and protect people from having that knowledge and understanding. I think the best place to start for people is to actually hold and stake some of the actual Weave token itself, because then you'll understand the nature of staking. The rewards on the providing liquidity will be even higher. The rewards really on liquidity, your compounding should be hopefully exponential, particularly in the first year. And I will do a separate video talking specifically about how we want to make sure the compounding, is really exciting on the Weave token. But that will give you, you could do that for a few weeks. You could just even do that for a few months and just understand how the mechanics are working, what your returns are looking like with that. And then maybe go into the passive side and maybe look for people or pro users that you think are right for your risk reward. So we do want to very much ease people into the things that we're talking about here in terms of exposure to all these different vaults and things like that. I'm very aware that as soon as we start talking about how deep the rabbit hole goes, it does get quite overwhelming for people. But again, we want to do it very slowly, so that people feel really comfortable when they're using the platform. Okay. How are you going to trust the pro members to ensure that their returns are genuine and sustainable, and that their performance won't tarnish your system and cause you to lose customers and reduction of the Weave token value? So a few elements to this. So first of all, we won't have any kind of selection process. We will let the data over time sort of, I guess, I'm a big believer that the cream will always rise to the top. So you don't need to apply to be a pro user on our platform. Over time, as people show their experience and show what they're capable of achieving, those top people will have more total value locked in, in following them. So they'll be like they'll have the biggest following. They'll probably have the best kind of returns, or at least maybe the best risk versus reward. Depending on people might be low risk and so on, but still follow someone that's got a low risk appetite. So from that point of view, the returns. The question says about the returns being genuine. There's no ways that the returns can't be genuine because they don't control that. Our data is collected by us. It's not. They're not giving us false information on what they've generated. It's our data, so there's no risk of them pretending they've made 1,000% gains when they haven't. There's no real way that they can game the system in that respect. But yeah, have you guys got any thoughts on ensuring that their performance, I suppose, is sustainable, and I guess the potential for pro users to somehow tarnish the brand of Weave through their actions?
I don't see any possibility for a pro user to harm our platform with their actions, because who they will harm might be the users following them, and we will try to not we won't allow to be copied from every pro user from the passive side. We don't want to have 10,000 of different strategies you can choose from. This is quite a difficult and an overwhelming massive amount of information. On the pro side, you can look up all the existing contracts and also copy from that point of view. But on the pro side, we basically expect you to know what you are doing. So the only way they can harm our platform is by harming users. And this is definitely bad and shouldn't happen, but they can't harm the value of the token or the platform itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so yeah, we're in the crypto space. So the biggest risk is the risk of losses. And again, this comes down to us educating people and making sure they're aware that if the APY seems too good to be true, there's probably a reason for it being that way. So you just need to understand where the risks are yourself, I guess, before you follow someone. There probably will be pro users that are chasing crazy APYs of thousands or even millions of percent, and we will probably just suggest that people stay away from them. We can't stop people from following them. It's not really our duty to do that, but we can educate people on the risks, I think, and I think that's ultimately the most that we can do is offer that and obviously support in the communities. I think that's an important one as well, isn't it? Right. So if people are unsure, go to Discord and just chat to people and just say, look, what is the risk here, and what do you guys think of it? And you can chat it through with people in the community as well. Next question is, will KYC be required to use the platform? Absolutely not. No, we're 100% decentralized. And again, this comes down to the fact that no one creates an account with Weave. You're not creating any kind of, you're not giving us any data really, like personal data. You're just connecting a wallet, which isn't even our wallet, it's your wallet. You connecting that to an app, and that app allows you access into this DeFi world. So yeah, you don't create an account with us. We don't have personal data, and we won't ask for KYC. Another really important one as well that I just want to mention really quickly is those of you that are new to owning a wallet, your private key is only given to you and should never, ever be given out to anyone else. If sometimes we will probably get at some point people pretending to be us in our communities, and they might direct message you and ask for your private key. Never, ever give out your private key to anyone ever. That's like your biggest security risk. Keep your private key extremely safe because you can't reset it. It's not like a password reset, anything like that. I'm explaining this because I want people just to understand that if something happens to your wallet, there's nothing we can do about it. Because you're not creating an account with us, it's not like we can do a password reset or anything like that. If something happens to your wallet, you lose access to it, or someone gets hold of your private keys, there's nothing that we can do about it. It's 100% your wallet, okay? And so I'm just want to make sure that we protect people from that point of view. Okay, so I think that's quite straightforward. After the full implementation of this, your initial project, what's next to boost the Weave token value? Or do you think that this single project is enough to boost the value? So we're talking about roadmap here then. So we're going to be launching in January. And so I guess the question is, what comes next, and what vision do we have for the future? I think this is really quite a good question, actually. So once we launch in January, Andreas, do we all sit back, and is that when we just start getting out the cigars and the champagne and we just sit and enjoy it for the rest of the year? Is that our work done?
Definitely not. We have some plans for the long run, and we are here to play the game for several years. We don't want to be this moonshot project and basically let you guys be alone for 6 months and say, well, it's done, see you later. We already have some plans how we can build on top of Weave, and how we can basically create a whole ecosystem around the brand, and many more products to come, which I think we might not even tease yet, because right now we're focusing on the platform itself, but we definitely have plans for several years, and we don't intend to sit back and relax. We intend to build up, to build upon Weave every time, every day.
And Stephen, do you want to just mention some of the ways that we'll expand the platform? You know, we'll have a starting point in January, but what are the specific ways that we'll actually be looking to expand over the next 6 months, 12 months, and so on?
Yeah, so I guess initially, you'll know that we've made some announcements on some of the chains we'll be launching on. So that does include Binance Smart Chain and Polygon, and another announcement coming very shortly. Actually, a couple of announcements coming shortly. But yeah, longer term and sort of early to mid next year, we're going to be looking to launch as quickly as we can, as effectively as we can on many different chains. And this will allow us to hopefully achieve our vision of having a truly cross-chain site and just integrating everything as easily as possible. So things like bridges can be used internally on our website, and you don't have to go to other websites for utilities such as those. And then, yeah, I think longer term, I don't want to spoil too much here, but yeah, we're going to look to just build the Weave brand as much as possible, and yeah, we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, there's a few teasers for you.
Yeah, there's a big one that I've been suggesting, which we have some technical barriers to, but if we can achieve what I'm hoping to achieve, and like I said, we don't want to give too much away, it will be unbelievable. It will be truly groundbreaking, I think, and we probably would be 6 months away from that anyway, so we want to make sure we build the best yield farming platform, but there is another level that we can take this to that I think could be absolutely huge. And again, I don't know anyone that's doing it, and I think it would be massive for us, but because of the technical challenges around it, we don't want to talk too much about it. We need to try and figure it out a little bit first. But just please be aware that our funds are even locked. A lot of our tokens, we have a vesting period for our own tokens of up to 2 years, so we don't actually get our final payment out for 2 years. So that's because we know we want to be building this platform for at least 2 years. So rest assured, we have long-term vision for this business for sure. So the next question is, when is the pre-sale? So I want to just be clear with everyone that we're not actually having a pre-sale. We're not selling coins to anyone. We're going to be giving away tokens, and this will be running through the month of December. We're going to have more specific dates coming soon, and we will have a very dedicated videos on how to participate in this, so don't worry too much. But just be aware that it's not a coin sale. We'll just be asking, it will be something along the lines of getting a stable coin, probably something like BUSD. You buy a little bit of that, you put it into a wallet, and then we know that wallet is active, and we know, so basically we have to have some kind of deposit in the wallet so that people don't just create thousands of wallets and basically take out all the coins essentially. So that's why we're asking for just put some funds into the wallet, so that we know it's active, and then you will be rewarded tokens just off that basis. You're not using the funds to buy the tokens, you're just using the funds to show that it's active and a genuine wallet. That's all the funds are for. It will be kind of loosely based on like the size of deposit that you put in, but capped at a certain amount as well. So I don't want to give too much away in this video specifically. I will have a dedicated video on it. If you put in a bit more funds, it should mean that you get a bit more tokens, but we don't want to be blocking anyone from entry. There's no minimum entry point, so essentially you could put $1 into a wallet and you will still be earning some Weave tokens. But we did want people to have the ability to earn a little bit more by putting a little bit more into your wallet, but it will be capped so that someone can't just put like $2 million into a wallet and just be taking out all of the Weave tokens that we've allocated. And I don't think I don't think I'm giving too much away by saying that it's a good number of tokens that we're giving away. It's millions of tokens that we're actually going to be giving away during that month. So yeah, make sure that you are following this channel. Make sure that you're ready to participate. We will have the explainer videos on how to participate coming on this channel, so you'll be able to follow exactly how to participate. When you have a copy trade, will this have a bar to entry? So it's like an entry, a minimum entry amount. So if we're talking about the Weave token, then no, you could again just buy $1 worth of the Weave token. Are you guys aware of entry levels for certain vaults? Will some of them be locked in for larger amounts to participate that you're aware of?
There have been some, but normally this isn't a requirement that you put in a minimum amount of funds, and the existing projects which already proven themselves are mostly without any minimum requirement to put funds in. As we said, we're building on top of different projects and we're bringing everything together. So if in a strategy you want to copy, there is a minimal requirement, you have to fulfill it, yes. But we as a platform won't put up a minimal requirement of funds to deposit or of Weave tokens to hold or something like that. So you can decide how much you want to put in.
Perfect. Okay, great. We've got quite a lot of questions here that we've kind of already covered. So I'm hoping that we're really getting through a lot of people's questions that they've asked in different ways. Someone's asking about the roadmap. Yes, the roadmap is on the website, and as we've mentioned, we're definitely going to be integrating other chains. They mentioned specifically Avalanche. We've already had a conversation with Avalanche. We love what they're doing. They love our project. They're not going to be with us at launch, but we will be integrating them pretty quickly. I mean, basically, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but any platform that supports smart contracts and will support DeFi is on our radar, right? I mean, we want to integrate as broadly as we possibly can to give people as much choice as possible.
Exactly. If you want to get in a bit more technical, there are different kind of chains. So most of the chains we talked about are EVM compatible. So the Ether virtual machine, this is quite easy compared to different chains like ADA, which has a quite unique mechanism, but are still able to provide DeFi environment. And even though these chains are more complicated and more difficult compared to others, to maybe bridge between and stuff like that, they're still on our radar and we still want to include them and work with them, because if our goal is to be the central hub, we really need to include everything out there. It's just a question of time. So when and not if.
Perfect. Someone's asked a question around sort of wallets. Now, we have talked about wallets and the way that you will own the wallet and you will connect the wallet. Probably compatibility that's a question that's been asked a lot. So I've always thought of this as kind of being like a MetaMask thing. What about other applications? Can we integrate anything other than MetaMask essentially?
Yeah, so I think, Andreas, you'll definitely be able to, well, I hope you'll be able to, but add more detail on this. But I know that a lot of wallets use Wallet Connect, and that will basically, any wallet that supports that, we will aim to also support within Weave. This is a little bit of alpha, bit of a teaser here. We're going to allow some of our community members to sort of be a person of accountability for an individual wallet, so we can test new features on we can test new features with those wallets and make sure everything works before rolling it out to a larger number of people. The specifics on that are yet to be sort of decided completely, but it's something that we're definitely aware of. But
I can fully agree. So the thing when it comes to this is also the question when. And if it's technically possible, we will work on it and we will try to include it. It's just a matter of time, basically.
Great. we've talked about security as well in terms of like ownership of smart contracts, but there is a question specifically about hacks. So what security protocols are being put into place to ensure that smart contracts are secure from hacking attempts? Andreas, that's probably one for you, I would say.
This question is a bit complicated to answer because since we're building on existing protocols or existing projects, there is no real way for us personally to prevent this project if it's get hacked, or we don't have the control over the source code. What we can do is review projects, but if you want, I can show you a list of existing DeFi projects out there, and it's huge. And to review everything, this will take an excessive amount of time. So this is something we really can't prevent, but we can give the user the tool set so they get notified immediately, that they see if something bad is happening and don't miss out on it and don't have to check 12 different Twitter accounts, 10 different Discord channels and stuff like that to be informed, so that they have everything in one place. And when it comes to our platform, we briefly talked about crucial functionality, which can only be executed by the owner. Also, we, as you said, we will have audits, which will make sure that there are no vulnerabilities in our code. And this is basically the way how we want to secure it as good as possible for our users.
Yeah, I think something to add there as well. We've had a variety. We've had and will continue to have discussions with different DeFi insurance protocols, so we can hopefully figure out if there's a solution that will be optimal for our users, so that it won't just cover our contracts, but also the contracts of the farms that we're building on top of for each of our individual vaults.
There's a question here I'm not quite sure about. So what fork will the Weave platform be using?
Yes, we won't be using a fork, and we won't fork any existing platform. One of the major problems in DeFi space is right now that there are so many forks. Look, for example, on the Binance Smart Chain. I don't know how many of the existing projects are just a fork of PancakeSwap and the MasterChef contract and just rebranded themselves. And this is the problem. We have a lot of projects not taking it serious to improve the DeFi space, but just are after the quick money. And I really don't want to say that every project is after quick money. There are really good projects out there. But it's quite easy to just make a fork, rebrand it, and say, well, this is the new big thing. What we are doing, because it's quite different, we are building from scratch. We are developing everything by ourselves. And our system is quite different compared to existing platforms right now. So the question might be more in the future, who is forking us and not what our fork is or what we rely on.
Perfect. And so this links into it. I think we can probably just have a yes/no answer. So will the smart contracts be developed from scratch or reused from existing ones?
From scratch, as I said already.
Perfect. This is from a different person, that's all, but worded slightly differently. So yeah, absolutely, it's our own code. So this is a clarification one. Maybe Stephen, you can answer this one. So with cross-chain strategies, do you mean earning on one network like Polygon, but farming on a different one like Binance Smart Chain, or providing liquidity in a pair on two different networks? Is that what we mean by cross-chain?
So hopefully all of them. That is the aim. Yeah, but I think what we had in mind first was being able to move your rewards or percentage of your funds from one chain to the other in one transaction, essentially.
But is it going to be from a technical standpoint? So we're going to be integrating multiple chains, but from a technical standpoint, will it be possible to have liquidity pairs, for example, that are on two different chains, essentially? So one side on it, so we're bridging essentially.
Yes, there is the possibility to create liquidity on 2 different chains, to go into as many projects on different chains as you want. But for example, if you're in a particularly one good on Polygon and want to take the rewards you're getting from that and want to 50% from the rewards, example, to bridge to Binance Smart Chain and invest in stablecoin, but you don't want to do it on Polygon but on BSC, then this is also what we talk about when we say cross-chain. So you basically can interact with the different projects on the different chains without worrying about bridging the funds in between. This is what we will be doing for you. So you can basically build your strategy just depending on the project itself and not think about, well, but I have to go to this side, bridge it over and wait for it and stuff like that. So this is what we want to take away the complexity from this point.
Some of the challenges there we have are around connecting one wallet though, isn't it? Right, so we've got to try and execute this from one wallet essentially, but then have access to multiple chains from that one single wallet.
Yes, exactly. But this is not a big problem from a technical point of view. What you can do is, when we talk about that every strategy is a smart contract, we can basically split that contract up into different parts which chain requires and deploy it to the different chains. So all the functionality needed for Polygon will be on the Polygon network. All the functionality needed will be on the Binance Smart Chain network. And with our bridging functionality, we can interact with them with our bridge, but the ownership still stays in the one wallet address. And the one wallet address is still the owner of it. They don't have to take care about all this different stuff, all the fragmentation which comes with it. This is what we as a platform will take care of.
I think that's something that I took for granted, or I didn't quite understand when I first got into crypto, is how segmented a lot of these chains are. What we're talking about here actually is like, I consider it to be really quite advanced, because most of the time you do have to manually try and migrate from one chain to the other, and it can be quite a laborious process. What we're saying is that this is all going to be happening in our code and automatically for people. That's one of the huge benefits that our platform will have.
Yeah, so what from what Andreas was saying as well, there is internally a desire to create this bridge ourselves. So yeah, we're gonna keep working away on that and hopefully deliver something really, really quite powerful.
Yeah, I think to be clear, we probably will launch more like kind of segmented, like with on individual chains. We will still have multiple chains integrated, but when we're talking about the bridging side of it, that's more like a phase 2 really of this project, right?
What we want to do is basically, again, we are taking our slogan serious, so we don't want to put out a product which isn't perfect or isn't good to use. So when we say this functionality is out, you can be sure that it's working and that it's easy to work with, and you don't have to put 2 days of work into it to just understand how it's going. So our expectation at ourselves is quite high, and this is why we say this won't be right there from the beginning. We will give you the possibilities, as Jonathan said, to interact with different chains. The bridging will be there when it's perfect in our view.
Awesome. A question for you, Stephen. Will profits be returned only in Weave? So if someone's actually using our platform, they're in a liquidity pool on Binance Smart Chain, for example, I think this is a really good question, actually. Will profits be returned only in the Weave token?
No. So they'll be able to choose what token they want to receive profits in. So the idea really, longer term, maybe Andreas will be able to help a little bit on the time frame here regarding development, but is that you'll be able to swap any set percentage of your reward allocation from an individual vault. So for example, if you're farming something like cake and you receive cake rewards for that, you could sell 50% or whatever percentage you like, with a small transaction fee just set by the DEX, the decentralized exchange that we use, and then get the rewards as you wish for that.
I think though because that's like the next phase, which is amazing. I think this question though is getting at the point of even just an understanding of what do people earn when they stake or when they're in a liquidity pool, right? So you touched on it a little bit in the answer, but I think it's important for people to understand that the Weave token is a bonus. So If you're using our platform and you're in a liquidity pair, if someone could give me an example, I don't know, like Cake, BNB, something like that, maybe.
Yes.
Right. You will be receiving a reward, probably something like Cake. You will probably be receiving a bonus in Cake, and we will also be topping that up by giving you Weave as well. So you will be earning 2 different types, and then you can decide what to do with them. Our platform will allow you to auto compound that Cake. So then you're increasing your stake holding, I suppose, in that particular vault, say. And then the Weave token is the same, so you're earning that on top of that, so you can put that separately into compounding it and stake that directly. So I think that the reason I like that question is because I think we've as we've been talking, we've made the assumption that people even understand the nature of how staking even works and how the rewards come to people. So first of all, so there's the Cake side where Cake will reward you for staking. So you're using our platform, but you're getting paid in Cake, PancakeSwap's native token, for example, and we're giving you Weave tokens as well. And again, you can either sell those, you can, all this can end up back in fiat currency if that's what you want. So these rewards that we're talking about, whether you're in liquidity pools on our platform or whether you're just kind of staking the Weave token or whatever, all of this is interchangeable back into fiat currency. So you could even use it as like a proper passive income where you won't convert it on our platform. That's the key thing to understand. But you might send it back to somewhere like Binance or a Coinbase, somewhere like that. So you've gathered these tokens on our platform. You can send them to somewhere like Binance. You can exchange them into whatever you want, maybe back into US dollars or pounds or euros, whatever, and then you can take them out. And so I think that the reason I like that question is because it's just getting back to that starting point really of what's the mechanisms of liquidity pools and what does it lead to ultimately. The next question, really interesting one. So farming can be very dangerous and can result in impermanent loss. If one is not familiar with liquidity pool dynamics, how will passive weavers / inexperienced people be protected from this? So we've not talked about impermanent loss just yet. I mean, Stephen, do you want to perhaps just explain to people? It's quite a big topic, impermanent loss, and I will have a dedicated video on it, by the way. So we only just need to quickly just touch on it, I think, here, and I will be explaining to people more about impermanent loss. But do you want to just give a sort of quick sort of definition about it?
Yeah, sure. So one easy way of understanding impermanent loss. This isn't sort of everything, but essentially in a liquidity pool pair, in an LP, you will have 2 tokens, and these 2 tokens always have to have the same dollar value or whatever currency you use. They always have to have the same value in that currency. So if one allocation increases in value, then the 50-50 balance has to be remade there in terms of the value there. So some of that will be sold for the other side. So the inverse of this is if one token decreases to 0, then the other token will also decrease to 0. And that is, in summary, the LP, the pairing, the risk there that's present.
Yeah, and I think just to mention as well that if the one of the tokens absolutely has like a moon, like absolutely goes crazy, you would be better to have staked that coin just as a single staking vault than you would have been to be in liquidity, because the two pairs have to be balanced all the time. So if one coin's really increasing in value, you essentially have to sell some of that coin to bring up the other one to keep them level. And it means that so often with liquidity pools you will get a much higher reward. So with the Weave token, for example, we're giving a much higher reward in Weave tokens for providing liquidity to kind of offset that potential. It's not really loss in that sense. It just means that you'll have made a less of a return on that one coin that's gone massive than you would have done if you were just holding that coin directly. But people seem to be very worried about that. It's kind of a good problem to have, because if that coin does moon and it absolutely performs incredibly well, you're still going to have made a lot of money even in a liquidity pool. So don't think it's like you don't make the returns. You just don't make quite as much return as you would have done if you were just holding that one coin on its own without being in a pair.
Yeah, I think a way that some people view it, and some community members that I've come across, they view it as essentially when you create an LP, you are selling your other two tokens and creating a new type of token. And then there is, yeah, if you believe in a project and in a farm, then you're still getting some reward. But also, if it doesn't go as well as you thought it would do, then your funds are slightly safer than if it was just single staking or just sat in your wallet as a token on its own.
Yeah, and there are impermanent loss calculators online as well that you can use if you want to just play around with that type of thing. But as I say, we are going to have videos on impermanent loss because it is an important feature. I don't think it's something that people need to be scared of particularly. So the question actually is how do we protect people from impermanent loss? We just need to explain to people what it is, and they can make their own mind up. But impermanent loss definitely, it doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily mean you've lost a lot of money. It could be that you've not quite earned as much as you might have done if you were just holding the one coin. But it also means you might not lose as much as you might have done if you're holding that one coin. It's kind of more balanced, I would say, a little bit.
It also comes down to to the data we provide to the user about the risk of the underlying project. It's impermanent loss is not the same for everything, and also the word impermanent means if the other token goes up, it's also readjusts. So yeah. This is why it's not permanent loss. There is, for example, ways how you can reduce impermanent loss, which will factor in the risk then also. For example, if you look at the pairing of Cake and BNB, these two projects traditionally move quite along on the same level. So if BNB rises, Cake rises, and they tend to go in quite the same way. So the impermanent loss in this particular pair won't be that high compared to other projects. And then there's also the beauty of stablecoins. There are liquidity pairs, for example, USDT, BUSD. Both are always at $1. There is no potential for impermanent loss there. There are some other stable coins which might not hold their peg. This is also, Jonathan can do even about that a separate video.
Yeah.
But established stable coins can be paired. And for providing this liquidity, this is where the solid 15 to 20% come in without having the fear of impermanent loss, which would also reduce the risk factor quite a lot.
I do just want to add quickly actually about the liquidity pair for Weave. I will state that because, and this is often the case in liquidity pools. I think I mentioned it earlier, but not specifically for Weave token. If you're providing liquidity for the Weave token, you have a 4 times weighting. Your rewards are 4 times greater than they would be if you were just in single staking alone. So bear in mind that yes, you've got to think about impermanent loss, but also you're being overcompensated for that, often overcompensated for that anyway. So keep that in mind again. That that's part of the reason why often with liquidity pools the rewards are much higher than if you're just staking the coin on its own. Okay, so the next question we have is about basically the regulations around crypto. So what type of regulations are we planning for, if any? So we have been talking, we have got a specialist crypto sort of legal counsel that we speak to about this. And basically we are very aware, it's very much on our radar about current regulation and future regulation. That's one of the main reasons that we're not selling any coins. That's why we're not doing the pre-sale. It would have been a great way for us to raise funds actually, but as soon as we start selling coins to people, then definitely the Weave token can be seen as a security. And a lot of projects we think are running a huge risk by doing pre-sales. And also you do have to exclude certain countries like the USA, for example. So we don't want to start our project by excluding people. So the pre-sale for us was partly regulatory and partly, I suppose it comes back to regulation. That's why I would have had to exclude the US anyway. And we just don't want to do that. So we are aware of regulations like in Europe, they've got some important crypto regulation called MiCA coming out probably later this year. We're already aware of what that's going to look like, and we're already taking precautions to make sure that we don't, so that we can comply with it basically. In terms of things like forcing KYC and things, I guess if we get forced to do KYC, we might have to look at that. But we really just want to keep this as an app where we're not like an on-ramp or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we use places like Coinbase and Binance. Often that they're already compliant in terms of doing the KYC and things like that. So I would hope that as long as we can just be working with reputable people like that, and certainly some of our videos will be talking about how to buy your cryptocurrency. We're not going to be talking about some very obscure places where you can buy crypto. We're going to be talking about the main exchanges that are already collecting KYC, those types of things. And as long as then we're aware of future regulation, then there's only so much we can do right now because this regulation isn't out yet. We don't know exactly how they are going to be regulated. We can only kind of speculate, but it's definitely something that we're preparing for, and we are very acutely aware of. So I feel like we've done everything we can as of right now, and I don't anticipate us having any regulatory issues, but the regulations haven't fully been set yet, so the regulators are still catching up with all of this. So it's not one that I can give a cast iron answer on, but just to say that we're working as much as we can to be compliant with what's there at the minute. Staking rewards are high right now. How will Weave innovate to continue to grow and sustain rather than falter? So it's an interesting one, that. So I wonder whether part of that question's about crypto prices being high, like the price of Bitcoin's at touching on all-time highs and so on. Staking rewards, as long as there's innovation, I see staking rewards always being kind of the way they are. I don't see it being like a dying industry. I mean, obviously things move quite quickly in the staking or in the crypto space. Do either of you guys see a time where in, let's say, 5 years' time, where there's no such thing as staking or liquidity pool rewards?
No, I don't think that this will ever happen. And maybe this question comes also from the point of view that there are platforms which provide like 10K APY rewards, and if we can compete with them. But to that, I would say we are more looking at our platform and our token having a real use case, and not just be there again for 6 months moonshot project and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think just to add on to that as well, regarding the longer term development, there's things that we've sort of talked about in the day to say, rewarding the people that are there from the very start, and picking up with the project and learning all about Weave and using all of our educational content and contributing. And yeah, I mean, I've said it several times already, but we're going to be rewarding these people, and yeah, the people that stick around will see dividends in the future.
Yeah, great. The next question is around kind of referrals and things. We love the idea of people trying out our platform and telling people about it and things like that. So, Stephen, I know that's something you've been looking at, maybe ways that we can have like a refer a friend, that type of thing. Do you want to just touch on maybe some of the ideas that we've got right now to help us grow, to grow our ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So one thing, I'll touch on one. So it would be regarding kind of an integration with our Discord server. So kind of the hub of where everything Weave will be going on from the day to day, and where we'll be chatting with users, and you can go on our server now and see that happening all the time. But yeah, this integration will essentially be in the form of an invite tracker, and we're just thinking about how we can incentivize people to share the Weave community with their friends and family. So we're not asking people to sign up and put their money in straight away. We're asking people, share this with your friends and family. If they like what they see in our community and in our documentation and our videos, then they are more than free to take the next steps into DeFi. And yeah, but essentially every data point we can gather for our community and how they're sharing the platform with others, that we will, and we're gonna innovate and think of new ways to reward users along those lines as well. And another one to add, in addition, we will be launching community calls, and we're going to be rewarding the people who come along to those calls with NFTs. So yeah, there's a few exciting things coming along in that sort of area.
Yeah, perfect. We have got a good token allocation for like rewarding community members and things like that. So yeah, Discord is going to be important. Please make sure you join the Discord group because it's fantastic. But we will also be probably having rewards for, I don't know, people that maybe retweet us, things like that as well. So there's definitely going to be lots of ways that people can get involved, help us to grow our reach and get rewarded in Weave tokens. Okay, so the next question is, can you name 3 strategic partnerships for the Weave platform? So we've already formed quite a number of partnerships. Stephen, do you want to just maybe give us some examples of what you've been working on and some of the partnerships we've got so far?
Yeah, sure. So as we said, we're wanting to be cross-chain, and I think sort of the partnership methodology we've gone down to getting these partners is an interesting thing to talk about. So we've been working very closely with Polygon, Hecko, and OKX. So Hecko is essentially the EVM compatible chain that is run by Huobi, which is one of the biggest exchanges in the world. And we've been working with them to allow us to link up with the protocols that they're working with. And we've started discussions with a lot of protocols. We're also in discussion with chains that we'll be launching on later on as well. So as we mentioned earlier, such as Avalanche and Kronos as well, they've recently launched. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. I think also we're reaching out to various different protocols through applying for grants, so to integrate their applications into Weave, so we can essentially build on top of them. I think that's a good summary of what we're aiming to do and what we've done already.
Yeah, so I know a lot. This question is probably aimed at like within the crypto ecosystem, I suppose, and we definitely feel like we've made. I feel like we've made amazing progress with partnerships with people that we've spoken to already. We've still a lot to talk to, but we've made fantastic progress. But I do just want to mention as well that we're forming partnerships outside of crypto as well. So one of the things that I'm working on at the minute is how do we engage with traditional finance? How do we engage with independent financial advisors, small sort of family run investment companies, and these kind of things, and maybe even like traditional funds and things like that as well. So I know that question was aimed at the name dropping, I suppose, in the crypto space, but I want people to know that we're forming partnerships much more broadly as part of what we've talked about in terms of bringing it to the masses for people that even like IFAs and things. People, if you go to your normal kind of financial advisor, your actual regulated one, they don't really have many ways to get people involved in crypto, and I think it's a problem for them because I know they're getting asked. I know a few personally, and they're getting asked about it, but they don't understand it. And I think Weave could be an opportunity potentially for them to maybe refer people and use our platform for getting people that taste of crypto as part of a bigger portfolio of investments. So that's definitely something that we're working on right now. So I think we're down to the last question. We had so many questions. In fact, Stephen, how many questions do we have in total here? We had an awful lot. Was it something like 50?
Yeah. So we've got between, I think, 60 and 70, maybe even 80 questions together.
So they've all been asked. Most of them are the same kind of question asked in different ways. So hopefully we've covered everything. But keep in mind, everyone, that there is more information coming on specific things like how to participate in the free coins that we're going to be giving away and that sort of. So how do you participate? How exactly to create a wallet and all those types of things. We're going to have very, very detailed information on that. But hopefully this has been a good overview for everyone. But the last question we have is, how do you plan on maintaining transparency and an open line of communication with your users and clients? I think that's quite a good question to finish on.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll take this one. So I think overall, really, within the crypto arena, within the crypto space, it's quite standard to have a Discord and Telegram community. But I think myself and Andreas and Johnny, I'm sure as well, in various projects we've participated in, we've seen how that can be good and bad at the same time. But yeah, so I would advise everyone to download Discord or use Discord in their browser on their phone. Also, we do have Telegram, so if you'd rather contact us via that method and keep up to date with us there, that's fine. So yeah, we've got an amazing team of moderators, and soon we'll also have Weave ambassadors that will be working quite closely with the main team. And really, yeah, just reach out to us on Discord or Telegram if you have any questions. Our latest announcements as well will be always on our Discord announcements channel and also in our Telegram announcements channel, which you can find in the link tree in the description of this video, and it's also in the Telegram main Weave chat description if you're already on the Telegram group already. We will in future as well also be rolling out email support. So if you have perhaps a question, or you've not used Discord or Telegram much, then we're happy to answer questions in that way in the future as well.
Yeah, perfect. I think that people definitely can join the discussion. If you feel like we've not touched on an answer or we've not answered it quite the way you can understand it, feel free, keep asking more questions in the Discord group. I think we should definitely plan to have another AMA. I think this has been really useful. We've enjoyed it. We want you all to understand the project, so we don't mind. Hopefully you can see we've been completely transparent and open with our answers. We will do the same again. Perhaps we do it in January. As we look to the year ahead, perhaps we could do another AMA at that time, maybe. But in the meantime, us three are all active in the groups, particularly in Discord. As I say, there are moderators in there as well. Ask your questions, please. Feel comfortable with it, but also just. Don't forget that the extra video training is coming. So just one last reminder, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of the content that's to come, because I think that most of the remaining questions, the remaining doubt in people's minds will be answered in those coming videos. So I just want to say, guys, thanks a lot for joining me, first of all. Thank you, everyone that submitted a question. Really appreciate it. We'll pick one of the questions as well, because we said that the best question, I think, we'll receive some Weave tokens. So we'll have a quick discussion about that and decide which was the best question. But thanks to everyone that submitted a question. We really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching as well. We're super, super excited to get this project off the ground. And we're also really excited just by the enthusiasm of everyone else as well. So it's brilliant to have you all on board, and we really can't wait to get this thing off the ground. And with that being said, we look forward to communicating with you a bit more in our social media channels. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.